You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. And now, it's time for the show that breaks down the options market from unusual activity alerts to market analysis, strategy overviews, listener questions, and much more. If it involves puts and calls, then our all-star panel will break it down. It's time to hit the Option Block with your host, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Media Group, and co-hosts, Uncle Mike Tosaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, along with Mark the Greasy Meatball Sebastian and Andrew the Rock Lobster Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. And now, get ready to hit the Option Block.
All right, everybody. That music means we are back. It is Monday. Time to commence another broadcast week here on the network. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're rested and raring to go for another jam-packed week full of options, content, 2, sometimes 3 shows hitting you every day this week, including today. No exception, no rest for the wicked out there, listeners, including the latest edition, the Hot Options Report. Thanks to all of you out there who've been checking that out and having a good time. It's available everywhere, of course, podcasts, but also YouTube's, all of our social platforms. All sorts of fun ways to engage with that show. And, of course, if you want to engage with Pro Q&As, Options Odd, man, a banger Pro Q&A last week. Supersized edition Options Oddities at the end of the week, which lately has been getting hijacked by a lot of our listeners, I should say our member trades, which is also awesome to see everyone coming up with so many great trades, but so much great unusual activity. And then, of course, live streams, giveaways, all sorts of goodness. You get access to the live session for the Hot Options Report every day now. So another bonus rolling in there, the optionsinsider.com/pro. Also, man, it's hard to believe we're already coming up on another week or change for the July Pro Trading Crate. So if you haven't done so yet, get your name in the hat, listeners. The optionsinsider.com/pro. The place to go to join all the party out there. As we see who's joining us on the old program today, we have the Unklest of Mikes, Mr. Uncle Mike Tosaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, as well as the rockingest of lobsters, Mr. Andrew Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. I introduce them now because they are getting ready. They are getting oiled up in the corner. They have their towels on. They have their mouth guards in because they are ready to do battle. It is time for the 80s Trivia Challenge. Here we go. All right, and coming into the start of the show, I do believe our unofficial tally, I haven't had a chance to go suss it out myself, but our producers say Andrew is leading right now 8.5 to 4.5 for Uncle Mike, with 1 point on the board for Mr. Dan Passarelli. He got 1 point in his one appearance, so he did pretty well. That said, Uncle Mike.
Impressive.
Uncle Mike, still the loser. Uncle Mike, where do you want to go? I'm assuming you want to go orange, or maybe you're going to throw us a curveball.
Sports and leisure, baby.
All right, to the land of leisure we go. Uncle Mike, Rock Lobster, get your hands on the buzzer. Who defeated Sugar Ray Leonard in the brawl in Montreal?
Was Roberto Duran?
Dang. Rock Lobster, yes.
Wow.
Ooh, boxing.
Roberto Duran was the brawler.
Wow. Rock Lobster, getting a little old school.
That's okay. So now we actually have a respectable sports question, the first one of the year. I have to give you props on that one, Andrew.
Berto.
You know, this is just random. I've been on YouTube. I've been getting random like Hagler-Hearns fights from the early 80s when those guys were just unbelievable fights back then, those two guys. That was like crazy how they used to fight. And I remember Duran getting pounded. Who was it? Who was the no mas fight by Hagler or Thomas Hearns? He's like, no mas, no mas. Oh,
Macho Camacho? I don't know.
yeah, and I was hard to believe. No, it was. I think it was Thomas Hearns, but it was the no mas fight, or was it was the rematch? I think it might have been the rematch against Leonard.
Rock Lobster,
maybe
a student of the sweet science. Who knew?
Yeah.
Boxing's all fake, though. That's the only thing.
I'll tell you,
it's not like wrestling.
They can't break out of a figure four leg lock. So what kind of fighters are they, I ask you?
Yeah.
Put them to sleep. They go to sleep. They don't fight out like Hogan. All right. So the Rock Lobster extending his lead as we extend the show right on into the trading block.
It's time to break down the latest topics, trades, and trends in the world of options. It's time for the trading block.
All right, everybody. Did you know that one? Did you know Roberto Duran? Listeners, are you down for a little bit of the sweet science? I got to admit, boxing not my first love out there on the sports scene. So that one kind of not in my wheelhouse. If it was an old school, maybe MMA type question, I probably would have had a better bite at the apple. But let's get to a little bit of bite of what's lighting up our tapes out there right now. Stop me if you've heard this one before, listeners. The S&P, the major indices are all green and vol is red. Bam, there you go. Show's over. See you next week. Now, of course, a little bit of green kicking off the week. Of course, it is a big earnings week, so this is very much one of those weeks where the old adage kind of holds true. If you don't like what's going on in the market, just wait a little bit, and chances are something else might come along to change your opinion or indeed change the market's valuation. S&P up about 0.6% right now. Dow up about 0.6% as well. NASDAQ closing in on 0.75% to the upside. All of them flirting at or hitting very recently new all-time highs. And our old pal VIX Cash, 1635. That puts it down not quite a half a point, but about 0.4 point from where it was on Thursday. And everyone's beloved VVIX, the vol of vol itself, at a 91 as we kicked off the show. All right, around the horn we go. Mr. Rock Lobster as our winner yet again this week. What was catching your eye out there in the markets? And if you have any enduring stories of Roberto Duran or the sweet science you want to share, have at it, sir.
My only really sweet science story is I did go to Vegas for Mike Tyson's return to boxing fight.
Not the Jake Paul one, kids, for all the recent boxing.
And I have to say, one person I wanted to be least on the planet was the guy facing Mike Tyson in the ring for the first time when he got out of
prison.
Hurricane Peter McNeely?
Was that his name?
Yeah, how did I know that? But I didn't know Roberto Duran.
Anyway, and that was a fun weekend. Anyway, I think the walk into the ring lasted longer than the actual match. That guy did not last longer than a round.
Well, that was his whole deal, right? He just intimidated the hell out of you on the way to the ring, and it was over by the time he got there.
Yeah, it was impressive. But anyway, yeah, that was my last, I would say, sweet science foray. It's been a while, obviously, since then. As far as the market goes, this is really it's starting to remind me a lot of the first Trump term. Now.
Don't say that. I don't want to see a 9 handle in VIX. Don't say that.
Well, the reality is realized vol is below 9% now. I mean, the market's not doing. If there wasn't for this August 1st trade date thing, when Trump's just going to get his 10 to 15% tariffs, what he wanted anyway, right? I think traders are like, hey, I think he's going to get it. I think the rest of the world, as far as I can, from Trump's calculus, he's like, the U.S. has been paying for global peace for 75 years. And and basically been shouldering the load, and he wants the rest of the world to pay. So they don't want to pay him one way. He's going to make him pay another. However pays, I'm like, who knows? But I believe that's what he's going with at this point, and that appears to what is going to happen. And at least stock prices seem to be fine with that. The AI revolution, whatever that means, nobody really knows what it means yet. Nobody could have predicted all the things the internet changed. I mean, you think about how we lived in the 90s pre-internet, like really pre-mobile phone, pre-smartphone, or even in the 80s, like communicating with who knows is all I can say. Who knows what businesses will be formed. So right now, the only thing that looks like a slam dunk is energy needs are going to expand to who knows what. And there's a lot of demand for compute power. So SMH is making all-time highs. So, and I think that's for now, and that's the narrative. And whether the rest of the market, other stocks come along is one thing, but I think, and that's what we have. Earnings so far seem to be okay. Nothing great, but we have yet to have the big tech stocks report yet. So, except looks like Netflix kind of slowed down on growth, but that's not too big of a surprise. They've been kind of going gangbusters for a while. I think that's the biggest one. Our 16 puts are starting to perk up again. They're still 30 cents all you can buy right now. Because VIX cannot break into the zone of the monk for 2025. And you'll pick me up with a feather if that happens once this year.
Now, you were just saying on the show last week, was it Volviews, that you think it's time to just take a break and just take a vacation until the beginning of August. So I'm assuming from that you haven't done your customary loading up on the 16 puts?
I have a fraction of the normal. I still have some. I still own some, but it is not near the... I was kind of thinking right before the Fed. I'll go take another look, but right now...
Take another look?
Yeah. It's a fraction. The stuff that basically is working is like... just basically being long, not making it too very confusing. And I got really no complaints on that. So anyway, that's kind of the story, and I'm sticking with it.
By the way, Mr. Rock Lobster, our chat continues to be stunned that you are beating Uncle Mike at the trivia challenge. So you are earning converts over there in the chat. They think you're pulling some skullduggery behind the scenes, sir.
Yeah. Well, by the way, I leave the camera on. The camera's on. Longo would see if I was down here typing something.
If he was Googling,
some sort of...
if he was like Roberto Duran really quick.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. He did not do that.
It would be a work, but in my defense, it has been a lot more. In arts and leisure has been more on the leisure side, bullfighting. Cards. Although I still can't figure out. I couldn't think of 300 pieces on backgammon or
wrist wrestling was
whatever.
Wrist wrestling is a legendary part of the sports and leisure now. All right, Uncle Mike, have you recovered A, from your shame of not knowing Roberto Duran, even though you knew that other Mickey Hurricane, whatever that guy's name was, and then B, what's catching your eye out there in the markets this week, and yet another Uncle Mike type of day, sir?
I mean, it's like, it's still not quite in my wheelhouse. I mean, boxing is fake. Professional wrestling is real. We all know that. I mean, when Mike Tyson, he got to learn what wrestling was all about in 1997 when he came to take on, he had his feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin in the WWE. So, I mean, that stuff's real. But I mean, boxing, it's still at least respectable. So at least we're not doing like Spanish bullfighting and ancient Spanish bullfighting. So we're getting there. We're getting a little bit more highbrow in the questions, but just this lowbrow stuff that's non-professional wrestling stuff. I mean, Andrew's an unsophisticated person, so that's why we have to go to unsophisticated things that are not pro wrestling. So that's just kind of my thought behind it. Anyway. With that, a couple of updates. The main update, of course, is never before in the history of the entire stock market has there ever been a better time to sell than today. It's exciting. We have new all-time highs today in the S&P 500. It's continuing to go higher and higher. What is fascinating to me on all of this is the fact that how deeply we have recovered from the pullback with which we had in April. The lows in April were 48.35 on the S&P 500, and we are 15 points above that right now. So we have had quite the run since April. I still believe this year, going into the end of the summer, I really like the idea of protecting oneself with some type of a put option, put spreads, something along those lines. 16 VIX. I would prefer having a 9 VIX for doing protective puts, as Mark does not want. But the 16 VIX, I think that's pretty fairly priced considering all of the possibilities for the unexpected. And with everything that we have potentially happening in the market for better or for worse, buying puts at this protective puts at the 16 level in the VIX is not a bad thing, in my opinion. Other news that we have on the day that's lighting up my tape: silver. SLV continues to make new highs. This high, it's not an all-time high, but it is still a new high that we have not seen since February of 2012. The high in February of 2012 was 36.44 in SLV, so we're $1 off of those highs. And so if we can continue to rally in silver, then the last time that we were at above the high I just mentioned was September of 2011. So we're continuing to take out old levels from 14 years ago with where we're at, with what we're doing in silver. I think that we have just been so range bound in silver for so long. Regardless of what's happening, you could argue potential inflation, you could argue whatever, but to me, it's just very simple. We haven't had much movement, and buyers are going to come in at some time. So those are a couple of things that are lighting up my tape at this point in time. With what we have coming up, we have the tariff stuff coming up in early August, so markets are going to have to be prepared for that. And then let's just enjoy the all-time highs, people. I didn't have to break in like Kool-Aid Man today. I just got to say it right away.
Right away, indeed. Let's see what's going on out there in the markets today, listeners. Is it a banger? Is it an explosive day? It's a pretty wild one. I'm looking at some of our top 10 out there today, and it is, I think it's fair to say, the world is upside down. Not only is the Rock Lobster winning the trivia challenge, but there's wildness afoot in our top 10, listeners. We'll get there. We'll get there in a second. First, let's go out to the land of VIX, listeners, and see what's catching our eye out there today. And the answer is a decently active day, about 411,000 contracts on the tape. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's more than halfway to the ADV, which is right around 750,000 contracts out there. Again, a decent ADV for this time of year. Not known to be the spiciest time in VIX land. What's the big dog out there today in VIX land? It's kind of a tussle between the AUG 29s doing 31,000 contracts and the AUG 21s doing about 28,000 contracts, which leads us to a fun question. The AUG 21s trading for $127, including a big block of 24,000 for $127, kind of split in the uprights mid-market. So we thought he'd put it out to you folks. Are you a buyer? Are you a seller at that price? Would you prefer to maybe sell them as part of a vertical, or are you kind of out on VIX right now? And right now, our audience is exactly split. This just went live a few minutes ago. Listen, we'll leave it running for the rest of the day, so you folks on the podcast can vote as well at Options. Of course, the place to go to follow along with all of this. But AUG 21s, 50% of you want to buy them. 50% are going the Rock Lobster way. You think VIX is kind of sleepy right now, so you're going to be out on VIX right now. Get over there at Options. We'll check back in on that a little bit later once it's had a chance to run for more than 2 minutes. We'll see what you folks have to say. Going out to SPY listeners, is it a hot day? The answer is yeah, it's pretty decent. 4.8 million contracts on the tape. Again, more than halfway to its ADV of about 8.25 million out there. The S, same deal, 2.25 million contracts. The ADV, 3.7 million on the tape. And then the Qs, a little bit north of where we expect them this time of day. We expect around 2.25 to 2.5. The ADV right around 3.75 million. So again, more than halfway to their ADV out there. Did I throw in small caps? If I forgot them, 755 for small caps today. The ADV about 1.3 million out there. Now let's get out to the land that apparently time has forgot, or time is just a weird flat circle, because we've got a wild top 10 today. I'm looking forward to the hot options report later today when we can codify this officially. But as of right now, listeners, this is one of the wilder top 10s we've seen in quite some time. Again, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria out there. Number 10, all the way down at number 10. This is one of our newcomers to the top 10 over the last week. It's kind of burst its way in, and it's managed to hang out there for the better part of the last week, really. So good on them. This is Lucid, coming back down a little bit today, 282 off about 21 cents. Remember, there's all this talk, Uber doing a big deal with them for robo-taxis, then some folks crunching the numbers and saying it's not really going to do much for the stock financially, and that seems to be, at least for right now, all she wrote for the upside on Lucid. They got up to 330 last Thursday, looks like, before coming back off about 50 cents, 282. Still looking spicy out there at 323,000 contracts. Let's look really quickly and see, are folks still loading up on near-dated upside? That's probably the case, but maybe they're gobbling up some puts. Let's see. Yeah, it's the AUG. My goodness, AUG 4 half calls, 64,000 of those bad boys going up today, all opening and leaning towards lifting offers on a lot of them. Take a guess what you think the 4 halves are going for, listeners. If you said around a dime, you're pretty much right. Big block for 8 cents, also 12 cents, so they're kind of splitting in the middle to say a dime. But there you go. Would you pay a dime for Lucid AUG 4 halves? Worth noting, there is an earnings announcement on August 5th, so maybe that changes your mind a little bit. But 4 halves seems a pretty distant memory right now. The stock right around 280. Either way, number 10, it's Lucid, listeners. 323,000 contracts. So just starting off, number 10, we're already pretty spicy. Number 9, I had to go check to make sure. This is a newcomer to the odd block. Apparently, we're getting back in maybe some Revenge of the Meme Kids territory. Either way, we got some spicy newcomers coming into the top 10, which is not unwelcome at the end of the day. This is IREN Limited, ticker symbol IREN. This is out of New South Wales, Australia. Apparently, this is an AI infrastructure name. They loaded up on a bunch of Blackwell GPUs from NVIDIA. They're running a big data center, so they're going right after that hot intersection of AI. They also do a little bit of Bitcoin mining. So they got all the buzzwords, Bitcoin, and they've got AI and data centers. So no wonder that they're up $1.90 or nearly 11% today, trading $19.90. Let's see, on the year, they were $11.50 a year ago. Then they came for it back in the big August meltdown, and they sold off to about $6.40. Then they slowly rallied it. By the end of the year, they got back up to, looks like about, it's hard to see where, there we go, almost $15.50 on the end of December. Then they sold off again April 8th, $5.12 is now their low for the year as of April 8th. And then since then, they've been climbing nearly 4x to about $20 right now. So, man, a good run, up 86% or $9.20 over the past month. So, yes, we have never discussed IREN before on the network. I have a feeling, though, this won't be the last time we talk about this name. Have you dove into this mad name here out of New South Wales? AI and Bitcoin, all the hotness? I'm curious. Hit us up. Let us know. I know a lot of our chat is early on some of these wild names. Maybe you're slinging some IREN. Either way, number 9, 339. Number 8, we're getting back into some more established territory, even though this is a relative newcomer. Looking at the long history of the top 10, this is Robinhood, 108.20 off about $1.50 today, or about 1.5%. Good for 340,000 contracts, and the number 8 spot. Number 7, the Amazonians, right around $2.29, up nearly $3, about $2.85. about 1.25%. So a nice little pop day for the Amazonians. 355 on the tape for them. Number 6, another frequent offender now. It's Palantir, 357 on the tape. Trading a little bit shy at 153, off about $0.50 today. Again, good for number 6. 357 for them. Number 5, out to Chipland we go. AMD, 158.5, up about $1.50 or nearly 1%. Good for number 5. 386. By the way, we're all the way up at number 5. Only 386 on the tape, which again, that's kind of the volume you'd expect on, a mid-July type of day. But that said, we are getting some interesting shocks to the system out here with some of these newcomers invading. It's a top 10 invasion today, listeners. Who else is going to join? Look at this one. Okay, if this doesn't say it all right here to you, I don't know what does. Number 4. Yes, number 4. When's the last time we saw this? Tesla. It was just number 1 last Thursday. Or maybe it was Friday. One of those 2 days. I lose track now with so much data flying fast and loose on the network every day. Number 4, Tesla. 731,000 contracts. So that's a combination of two things. Kind of a surprisingly sleepy day from a volume perspective for Tesla. Can't remember the last time we kind of saw it this quiet. This name puts up 1 million contracts kind of before breakfast usually. Yeah, it's up to about 750 right now, but still kind of a sleepy day for Tesla. Maybe because it's only off 2 cents. That'll do it. Even though net on the day it's had a little bit of a move. It's a high of 334.40, low of 326.88. So that's a decent move. It's not a crazy move for Tesla, but clearly not translating to a lot of options paper. All the way down at number 4. Mark your calendars, listeners. It's been a while since we've seen that. Number 3. This is kind of a weird one too. Apple. When's the last time we saw Apple at number 3? When's the last time we saw Apple above Tesla? This is a wild one. Dogs and cats are living together today, listeners. Rock Lobster winning the trivia challenge. All is upside down. We are living in the upside down. Maybe that's why Stranger Things is coming back for its final season now. Are we all in the upside down together? Number 3, the Fruit Company, 213.62, up about $2.50 or a little over 1%. I'm not sure what's popping them outside of more. There's rumors about the foldable coming out of Bloomberg, looks like. So they're doing a lot more Me Too there in Apple. Everyone else has got a foldable. Why not Apple? Apple's always been a buy the rumor, sell the fact kind of name. Clearly, folks buying the rumor today. Number 3, 9/11 on the tape. That's the spiciest we've seen Apple in a while. And then, get this, listeners. Number 2. Yes, I said number 2, NVIDIA. Only 1.06 million, so kind of a sleepy day for NVIDIA today as well. 172.60, up about 20 cents. So if the meme kids wanted to do their takeover, today was the day. The big dogs outside of Apple really not doing a lot of paper today. So that means one name has conspired to kick Tesla to the curb, to kick NVIDIA to the curb, Apple to the curb, Palantir, all your usual favorites, all the usual suspects. None of them are number 1 today. Can you guess? I'll give our chat a couple of seconds. We'll do a little fun. Maybe we'll play the Jeopardy music again really quick. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Did you guess what is topping the list today? If you said open, you are winner chicken dinner. This is almost the definition of the upside down right now. Open is dominating the options market today. What does that say about the options market, about the kind of day we're having, the wild market we're in? Open, listen to this, listeners, about around 4.25. We were just mocking some, I think it was $2 calls not too long ago. Up nearly $2, 88% today. So clearly the meme animal spirits have just run away with this name. We were joking about this name not that long ago on shows like Options Oddity, saying, what is the deal? Oh, folks guessing in our chat. Yeah, open. They got it. Smart folks out there. Who was it that was slinging some of the, I think it was our friend from Tokyo was slinging a bunch of the 2 calls last week in open. Man, I think they expired on Friday. Otherwise, he'd be a happy camper today. Those are nearly $2 to the good. My goodness, listener. What do you even say with madness like this taking hold of the options market? Now, a couple of things are obviously conspiring. It's a quiet time in the market otherwise. A lot of our hot names we know have kind of given up the ghost today, so they're making room for the newcomers, but still open. It's kicking them both to the curb. We know it's going to be calls that are dominating the tape. The question is, which one do you think it is? I'll give you another couple of seconds to play along. 3, 2, 1. If you said the July 4 halves expiring this Friday, you are the winner chicken dinner. 202,000 of those MFers. My goodness. Trading 75 cents up to 90 cents today. My goodness. It is a good thing our pal, the Viceroy, is not on the show today because he would take a lot of umbrage at this. Of course, he would have said buy the Forever call, which is also doing pretty good right now, up $2 today. So you doubled your money on that. My goodness. Open. I can't recall the last time I've seen kind of an upstart like this just completely upend the options market and kick all of the traditional top 10 players to the curb. That is kind of wild. So that makes for an interesting day. The rest of the week, we do have a lot of big earnings coming up this week, listeners. So if you were hoping for some hot earnings action, if you were hoping for some hot earnings report in your hot little hands, courtesy of us, because we like you, the answer is yes, you got them coming at you in spades right now. Head on over to the website, theoptionsinsider.com. Click on the Options News and Articles tab, and you can begin your journey to the dark side of earnings vol. Today we had Verizon and Domino's a pizza before the bell. Sounds like stuffed crust working out for Domino's out there, even though I think their net profit wasn't that great at the end of the day. But the stuffed crust did help. Tuesday, we got Buffett's former, I forget if he's on again or off again with Coke. Either way, Coke tomorrow and GM. Wednesday, AT&T, Hasbro. What's going on in toys? I guess we'll find out. And then some name called Tesla, not familiar. Alphabet, the Beamer, good old Beamer. Chipotle and Alaska Airlines. Some of our pro members were selling some premium in Chipotle last week. We'll see how that's going during earnings week. Thursday, back on show day with the Flowmaster, American Airlines, Nokia, as the Finns say, Dow, and then chemicals, of course, Southwest Airlines, Honeywell, and Intel. So we got some bangers this week, including, of course, Tesla and Alphabet, and if you're into the formerly stealth Apple, Chipotle. A lot of hot things right now before the bell. Really quickly, we have updated earnings move results reports from our friends over there at Orats. Verizon, before the bell, they were pricing $40.84 going into their announcement. They were pricing in 3.6%. Guess this. They delivered 3.8%, a banger, a shocker. Verizon out there. And we also had Domino's, a pizza before the bell. $465.95. Man, that just seems lofty for Domino's, a pizza. They were pricing in 5.6%. They delivered 2.6% to the downside. So the initial blush was good on the stuffed crust, but then apparently the folks not liking. Looks like the stock, though, has rallied from that, though. 10 handles. They got down to about 453 when we ran this report. Now they're trading 463. So apparently stuffed crust is good after all. The folks are rallying the stock $10 from here. Either way, you can check all that out for yourselves. The season hanging out right now. If I could scroll like a madman, I could get there, listener. So much data for you. Yeah, hanging out right now. A 95% comparing to our long-term average of 119%. Again, hit the site as we hit the odd block.
It's time to break down the most interesting, unusual, and downright questionable options activity that's been identified by theoptionsinsider.com. It's time for the Odd Block.
All right, listeners, let's get weird. Let's get wild. I think you know we have to stop at this name after what I just said earlier in the trading block. Yeah, let's go out to Open, man. Just wild business. This print came across our radar. Certainly looking pretty good right now. Open, you don't need me to break down the saga. A year ago, it was $2.50. And they hated it pretty much all year long. It got down to 51 cents on June 30th. Yes, less than a month ago. About 3 weeks ago, you could have bought all of the forever calls you wanted for 51 cents. Now people are paying 90 cents for the 4 halves going out the end of the week. Just wrap your heads around that, listeners. What did we spot this morning? Well, obviously, a million things because Open is leading the tape right now. But one of the big prints that caught our eye earlier this morning before the show were the 3/2, the July 3/2. The stock was 3.25 at the time, so obviously over $1 below where it is right now. And somebody came in and said, 3/2, how are they expiring this Friday? They got 75 at 77, so actually a decently tight market for this name, given how much it's whipsawing all over the place. They said, I will pay 77 cents, good sir. 6,007 times. At the time, that was a pretty ballsy trade. I mean, obviously they're paying more than the stock was worth less than a month ago for these calls. And also, at the time, that was a 52-week high. So it seemed pretty wild. And then lo and behold, those calls are now about 85 cents in the money. So go figure, they're doing pretty well on these calls. If you're wondering if there's any obvious catalyst to this, the answer is no. The next announcement for earnings is not until August 5th. So it does seem like this is just meme palooza, to use a technical term. Mr. Rock Lobster, I'm sure you've noticed by now, it's hard to ignore this open palooza out here. And then what are your thoughts about these 3/2 that are looking pretty good and just the madness that is open in general, sir?
This was a hot stock for a while back in the 2011?
You and I mocked it for a while on Options Oddities, yes.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it could be several stocks that have been squeezed, that have been or shorted, have come to sadness for the shorts. One comes to mind is MP Materials. That might not have crossed your radar, but the DOJ came in, or the DOD is like, hey, you know what? We're going to make an investment in rare earth, blah, blah, blah. And so they now have somebody to sell production to. And China dominated that market for a long time. Anyway, but the thing that I think what's happened is stocks that were shorted, the shorts see that, they go back to kind of the Reddit meme days, and they're like, what's the next one? What's the next one? Opendoor still has some sales. I recall them like kind of start to get into the game of buying houses and then being left with a lot of inventory. I don't know if it was Opendoor or if it was Zillow at the time. I don't remember which one, but it looks, again, this is a squeezy stock. Buying some calls is buying some cheap calls is not a bad thing. But I will say though, let me see here, so volatility is a mere 375% in this one. And let's see, 26 cents, 29 cents. I mean, even the August contract, there's not a lot of huge short interest in this one. At least today might have been a big cover day, because I don't see the reversal conversion market. It doesn't look too out of line. But I'll take another look at it. But it's a stock that could come back to life. It's possible. I don't know what the impetus was, but again, it could have been squeezed from lower prices. I've never really understood people that keep shorting stocks when they're already like $1 or $2. I guess they're trying to get the last
squeeze the last blood from the stone.
Yes. Which trying to get that last 20% sometimes is a little problematic. They should take Tosaw's class on closing your credit spreads when you're making your money. But again, I don't think this is an unreasonable call purchase, and they're already up, up a little bit of money on these. So listen, in a stock that's going up, the market kind of chasing this stuff. It's a stock that is up is a stock that is up. So not much else I can say about that.
More buyers than sellers, says the Rock Lobster at the end of the day. Well, obviously, this is not the last we're going to talk about Open. I'm looking forward to the hot options report later today, listeners, where we can see the final tally for Open. Will it close at the top of the list? If every other top tenor keeps up this kind of sluggish pace, the answer could easily be yes. Man, wild. If you had picked any of the meme names, I would never have put Open on that list to be the next darling, let alone the topping the charts in options land. That is a rarefied feat that not many names have accomplished. So wild stuff out there. To the land of Cemex SAB Day CV. We go next, aka Cemex, ticker symbol CX. A Mexican ready-to-mix concrete name. We talked about this one before. This is an ADR, listeners. 772, up about 11 cents, a little over 1% today. On the year, they were 644 a year ago. They sold off to, looks like their low was 489 back in the big April sell-off. So since then, they've had a nice run, nearly $3 to the upside. Mostly straight up here for this name here. Because when you think of hot names since April 8th, obviously Mexican ready-to-mix concrete leaps to the top of the list. Forget AI, forget crypto, forget all these other hot things. Mexican ready-to-mix concrete. That's where the action is. And they have some action today, listeners. They have earnings coming up this week. All right, that is leading to this big lineup we're seeing here in CX. What do we spot in CX today, listeners? It was the Jan 9. Somebody came in this morning and said, Jan 9s, how are they? They got 40 at 45 cents. This person said, I will pay 45 cents, good sir. 5,323 times. They came back a little while later, said, how are they now? They still got 40 at 45 cents. So that was kind of generous of the market makers. They said, I'll buy another 5,000, sir. And they kept that on and so forth until they bought a total of about 17,000 on the day. Maybe more have gone up since we started the show. Either way, spicy action here in this ready-to-mix concrete. Well, let's look really quickly. If we go back to March of 2024, they did hit $9 exactly, 901 to be precise, and then fell out of bed back to about $6. So $9 seems to be, and if you go back to 2021, they topped out at $8.56. So $9 seems like in the past it's been a bit of a bridge too far, let alone nearly half a buck past that. But that seems like what somebody is up to. Mr. Rock Lobster, are you champing at the bit to buy upside in Mexican ready-to-mix concrete, sir?
I want to say that Cemex has been trading at $7 for the last 50 years. Maybe let's see. In 2011, it was 1082. Let's see. It was 972 in 2017. It peaked at 858 in June of 2021. And it's on a little rally now in 2025. Yeah, so I might not have been totally right by the price, but I think $9 maybe. So it kind of trades like the VIX. It just is a reverting name. This is like one of those stocks I always thought would do better. Like, oh, cement, Mexico, building, has to be good, right? Country growing, blah, blah, blah. But I have to admit, I can't find a less appetizing thing to purchase than calls in CX.
Let alone right at the level that they've really never broken through in modern history.
It's like, I think, it's kind of an income play stock. And, as long as Mexico is Mexico, CX will probably be the cement monopoly or whatever. I mean, maybe things have loosened up a little bit, but there's T-Mex, there was the mobile phone monopoly, the telephone monopoly, the cement monopoly, it's it's whatever it is over there. And yeah, I wish them luck on these calls, but I mean, it is moving higher. I would say it is kind of on. It does do these kind of really long trending upturns. And it looks like it's on one right now. So it could get to 9. These calls could be up some money, but it would surprise me. But again, you look at I feel like this is a stock where some new junior trader looks at it and says, wow, this volatility is really cheap. These calls are way too cheap. I'm going to go buy some. And then the stock just sits there and doesn't move for like 4 months. But maybe today is different. Today might be a start of a new day. And it can happen. If I can be ahead of Mike And
it is an upside down day. Maybe it's the day for Cemex to blow past the 9 strike. We shall find out, as we also find out what Uncle Mike has in store for us, a little bit of the old strategy block.
It's time to dispense options, wit, wisdom, and education. It's time for the Strategy Block.
All right, Uncle Mike, the floor is yours. 10 minutes on Roberto Duran. Go.
I don't really have too much on that. I mean, my other area of boxing expertise is WrestleMania 2 when Roddy Piper fought Mr. T in a boxing match. Not many people know about that, but I do. With that, because I'm very highbrow and high class with my trivia knowledge. Anyway, with that being said, it's okay. That's the theme for today's strategy block. It's okay if you get called away on a stock and you miss some of the upside of it because you sold a covered call on it. It's okay. Initially, you have to have the understanding that you were planning on limiting your upside anyway. And if you miss out on greater upside because the stock just goes higher and higher and higher, that's okay. You missed out on something you weren't trying to get in the first place. It's also okay when you do miss out on some of the upside to get back into it if you still have the bullish neutral sentiment on the stock itself. We got called away on some stocks this last expiration, and what I'm literally doing today is buying stocks at a higher price, selling covered calls against them at the same time we're getting back in. It's okay. Now, why is that okay? Well, here's why. Number one, our sentiment is still the same. And if the stock had like doubled or something like that, we wouldn't be doing it. But if you miss out on $1 or $2, over time, we believe, and we have, based on our track record, we believe that the premium you collect will make up for some of the money that you lose to the upside. Now, don't get me wrong, there's stocks that go just insanely higher, and we're like, well, we missed that one. We don't love the stock when it's this much higher than it was when we got into the covered call. But if we miss out on $1 or $2 to the upside, depending on the stock price, of course, we're okay getting back in after we got called away. We're okay buying stocks at a higher price. And the reason is that when you invest in covered calls, not only are you investing in the stock, you're also investing in theta or time decay, and you're investing in implied volatility in one way, shape, or form. So if you didn't quite get all the delta profits that you wanted to the first time around, it's okay. You can get back into it. Maybe you can get back into it at a better price sometimes when the stock goes up and then you get called away and then the following Monday the stock goes down and you got a little bit lucky on it. That does happen at times. But if you don't, once again, it's okay. And that is the strategy block for today, July 21st.
It's like it's okay that Uncle Mike is falling deeper into the hole.
I knew you were going to go down that road.
If it's okay, we just got to put it out there. Keep people psychologically resilient out there. It's okay. Listeners, you too can spend the second half of the year clawing your way out of the hole as we wind up the show, a little bit of the old Around the Block.
It's time to tell you what we'll be watching on our trading screens until the next episode. It's time for Around the Block.
All right, to the Around the Block we go. Let's check in really quickly with our questions of the week, and our flash poll just went live as the show started. I love how you folks are all over the place. You can't make up your minds on a lot of this stuff. We said it was 50-50 on our flash poll for these AUG 21s and VIX for about $1.25. 50% wanted to buy them. 50% said you were out on VIX right now. And then as the show has progressed, it has spread to equal yet again, but across all four. We're right about 25% exactly for each. Between you want to buy them, you want to sell them, you want to sell them as part of a vertical or a spread, or you're completely out on VIX right now. So once again, you folks are literally all over the place, which makes it kind of fun. And that is what makes a market at the end of the day. You'll have till the end of the day. So if you're listening on the podcast, you can play along as well. What also just went live right before the show is our actual question of the week. Keeping things general right now, we just very simply, surprisingly, we never really asked you this question before, which is, what is the biggest challenge facing your options trading right now? So in the current market environment, listeners, once again, if you don't see your your issue, your favorite. Write in with what you think is bothering you out there. But we gave you 4 choices. Too many things to trade. The spreads are too wide. And, bad execution or bad fills, or it's having a hard time. We know our audience having a hard time finding that juice to sell out there. Mr. Rock Lobster, if you have a vote in what is your biggest issue in the options market right now, B, which way do you think our audience is going, and C, what are you keeping an eye on for the rest of the week, sir?
It's a very interesting. I would say, my biggest problem always is just closing, not being a greedy pig with my options. I didn't see that as a choice there.
We don't have infinite choices, no.
Yes, no, not a greedy pig on the thing. So I'm going to say too many things to trade for the people. That is what I'm going to say. But I try to keep my universe small. And as far as what's going on for the week, just earnings to see if we can get more of the same. Waiting for, again, it feels like we're just endlessly waiting for some stupid government organization to tell us what they're going to do, which I don't think is the best thing. So that's what I see for this week. Just earnings.
Spoken like a true Mainer living in the compound on the side,
yes,
on the side of the country, battling clan pirates on a daily basis. Yes. Mr. Uncle Mike, same question for you, sir. Which is, what do you think is the main issue facing your options trading right now? Too many things to trade, spreads are too wide, bad fills / execution, or finding that juicy juice to sell. Which way do you think our audience is going? And then what's catching your eye, I should say, the rest of the week?
Yeah, I think it's the juicy juice for the audience. In terms of my trades, I would say that what's the biggest thing with my trades? I don't have any problems based upon what you had mentioned. My problem is always I want to make more money and lose less money, I guess. So from that standpoint, if I could just do that, I'd be happy with everything. In terms of what I'm watching going into next week, of course, there's earnings, but watching to see if we can continue the all-time highs and then seeing if silver can make another run at it. That's what I'm watching.
All right, that music means we are done, but not done for today. Don't worry, coming back for the crypto rundown in a little bit, and then the hot options report after that. Should be a wild one. Right now, exactly 50% of you are having a hard time finding juice to sell, which means, Mr. Rock Lobster, if they need some help finding some juice to sell, where should they go? What should they do?
Yeah, 888-TRADE-01, and look for one of my new products. It's option trading for stock investors. So everything will be just based around people that like to trade stocks using options in the proper way. That'll be coming down the road, or any of my other more what I would call advanced products, using volatility products and VIX and stuff like that. Stop on into Option Pit and put your learning on.
Didn't you have one where you were flashing people in alleys and they were paying you for the privilege? Wasn't that something?
Yes, that is the Flash 5. That is off to a... the first Flash 5, not so good. We ran into the trade wars. But the next Flash 5, of course, is 5 for 5 and has wiped away all the sins of the first one. So we're now very happy.
So if you too want to be flashed 5 times in a dark alley, head on over to optionpit.com.
We can help you with that.
He can make your dreams come true.
Come true, yes.
optionpit.com. And Mr. Uncle Mike, I don't know if they want your flashings. I'm not sure if that's even a service you offer. But if they want to hit you up to talk Bitcoin and all your favorites, where should they go? What should they do?
stcharleswealth.com. Book an appointment with me. Would love to have a conversation with any of our audience members.
All right, check them out, stcharleswealth.com. That's going to do it for us right now. If you're hanging out in the chat, just hang out. We'll be back in a little bit talking all things crypto. And spoiler alert, man, there's a lot going on out there. Vol-wise, underlying-wise, skew-wise, action-wise. I will be joined by some awesome special guests. Who will they be, I should say? You got to tune into the Crypto Rundown to find out. And then we'll be back after that for our friends over there in the chat with a little bit of hot options report. You folks get it in your ear holes right away. Everybody else, stay tuned to the network. It'll be hitting on demand wherever you find your favorite podcast. Of course, available on the tubes and the Instas, wherever all the cool kids hang out these days. You can find the hot options report waiting for you there as well. Back again tomorrow with all sorts of fun content. And then, of course, Wednesday with our doubleheader of Options Bootcamp, as well as the Futures Rundown. Oh, by the way, we have a pro Q&A with our good buddy, Mr. Rich Excel. He's always up to tackle some wild questions on whatever product category is floating your boat. If you're down for crypto, equities, FX, energy, he doesn't care. He's down for it all. Ags. So start getting those questions in now for tomorrow's pro Q&A. Should be a banger. If you're not part of the pro yet, what are you doing? TheOptionsInsider.com/pro is the place to go to learn more. Then we're back again on Thursday. We kick that rock lobster guy to the curb, and we sub in the Flow Master for another great episode of the Option Block. See you then. And stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.